It's challenging for us as writers to know when our story's done. As a coach, I've worked with a lot of writers who have sat on the same story actually for a really long time. And when they share pieces of it, I think, oh, that's great. You've got a lot to say here. And then I find out that they've actually been sitting on it, not just for a little while, but for maybe a decade. And some writers get into this loop of like revision and editing and then sending it out to other people and getting some feedback on it, then revising and editing. And in my experience, there's a lot of writers who actually never finish that work. It's just like this continual work in progress. That's a real shame because we're here to create, remember, we're here to create that body of work. We're not here to create just one single work. And I think that when we get that fascination, that fixation on making one work just perfect, which we never can do, we actually end up missing out on all the other works that we're here to create. And here's a real quick mindset shift for you. What if your 7th book is the book that is going to make you famous, is the one that's going to make all that money, and you're spending all this time on book number 1? So I think that it's worthwhile to get out of this habit, and we get out of this habit by shifting our perspective, specifically on what a finished work looks like. I'm Trevor Martens, and I help you write things because that's what writers do. If you find yourself in that revision rut, or where you're trying to make the piece just right or just perfect, I want you to ask yourself, what does perfect look like? Be honest. How are you going to know when this thing's done? Because the writers that have been working on a work for over 10 years, I don't think they see that end in sight. And I don't think you know when that end is either. And that's okay. It's because it's a false end. You know, when we have a perfectionist tendency, when we need something to be just right, it needs to be just right not for us. It's for somebody else. Like we have some sort of critic, we have some sort of famous author or agent out there that we're thinking they have to like it, and once they like it, I'm going to be okay. But here's a quick reframe. You can't control whether or not they're going to like it. What if this person or these people are having a rough day when you send your manuscript out? What if they just don't happen to like your genre? What if they misinterpreted what you were trying to say and say, nope, it's no good? Are you going to let your right to be a writer be determined by the opinion of someone else? Because I'll tell you this, that goal that you have to write and to publish, to finish that work, that's deep inside you. I couldn't take that out of you if I tried. So if you have that dream, why would we let someone outside of us determine whether or not we're allowed to have that dream? It's already there. You've got full permission. Unfortunately, for a lot of writers, if they've sat on a story for a long time, if you've sat on your story for a long time, yeah, that's a sign that it's really important to you and that it matters. What you might want to consider here is this. You might be revising it endlessly, or doing extra research, or learning one more technique, or taking one more course, because you're terrified of putting this out there and having it be rejected, of having writers not like it, a publication not pick you up, an agent reject you. That's very normal, and it happens to a lot of writers. And I fully understand how terrifying that feels. That idea that, oh my God, I've put so much work into this. If I were to get some criticism on it, oh my God, it would just mean that I'm a complete failure. There's a lot of weight behind that. And the weight, though, is purely based on that goalpost you're setting up. You're determining your work's value based upon what somebody else is going to say. And we've already talked about how that's completely out of our control. But what's worse about this is that we're not writing in some way. We're no longer writing to express that feeling in us, that curiosity, that excitement that we have. We're writing for some invisible judge. We're trying to create something that will make somebody else happy, or make somebody else say, yes, you're good, Trevor, you're a great writer. You can officially go forward and publish. And when we do that, we've completely skewed the natural creative process. Our natural creative process, our true north to find our creativity, is to listen to what's important to us. When we listen to what's important to other people, that's when the inner critic shows up and our writing shuts down. If we're here to make a body of work and not just a single work, then we've got to get into that body of work. In order to create multiple works, the process has to be sustainable. It is not sustainable heck, it's not enjoyable to be constantly second guessing and questioning and criticizing your own writing. There is no way you can get to book 7 if that's the book that will change the world, if we're stuck on book 1 forever. And so what we need to do is get book 1 done first. And book one can only be created by you. Not you at all time, you right now. As artists, as writers, we are in the act of creative expression. The story that we create is a product of who we are right now, our past experiences, our current situation, and our current feelings. It's a product of this interesting collection of who you are in this moment. If you decide to take a work and let it live on for 10 years before you finish it, you're a totally different person 10 years later. Of course, with those eyes and those experiences and those feelings in that situation, you're going to look back and revise that thing completely because you're a new person at this point. You are doing the work no service by letting it stretch out. And so if we want to get to book 7, think of this book as like a Polaroid. It's a snapshot of who you are, including your current abilities, understanding of writing and literature, etc., etc. Get it out. You're going to learn through the process. There are so many bumps in the road that you have no idea are coming for you if you haven't finished a book yet. So might as well go through it now with the first one and let the next one be that much better because of it. And if our goal, and I know this is your goal if you're watching this video still, if our goal is to make something great, then what we want it to be is original and creative. It's what Rick Rubin would call a revolutionary work. The only way that we, as an authentic original artist, can create something that's revolutionary, never been seen before, brand new to the world, is if we only take our own unique original experience, desires, wishes, dreams, whatever that is, if we funnel us through that work, if we write through this work in a way that is meaningful only to us, that's how we create something that is purely of us. And what's great about that is that system's repeatable. You're not sitting out there trying to figure out what the best genre is, what the current trends are, what's hot right now. You just get to keep going back to that well. You get to keep going back inside and writing stories that make you curious, that make you excited, that you're passionate about, that you want to learn more about. That's how you become a great writer who writes great works. It's not by looking for that goalpost or that check mark or that accolade from somebody else. It's from completely honoring the stories that you want to tell, sitting down and telling them as the person you are today. The bigger shift that we're looking to make here as writers is to stop looking outside of ourselves for permission to write and share our stories. When we make that shift from asking permission to be a writer, for looking for those accolades, and instead give ourselves permission just to write the story we want, we're making a shift not just that's going to help us produce more stories, but it's a shift that's going to allow us to begin to trust ourselves. And that self-trust is what will carry you through good times and bad, ups and downs in the writing, writer's block, criticisms, bad reviews. If you can get to the point where you trust that the best story you can write is the one that lights you up the most, and that that's all you're responsible for, there's not a critic in the world that could stop you. If small changes in perspective like this are helpful for you, I would highly suggest you check out my Write Things newsletter. You can sign up for it below. Each week I send out a new shift in mindset or a perspective on a technique that can hopefully help you become the writer that you want to be. Either way, I wish you and your stories all the best.